Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of our Pokemon Battle Series, the School of Hard Knocks. So throughout this episode, like every other, we'll be jumping on to the Pokemon Global Link Battle Spotlight, playing under the Championship Battle rules, which are the equivalent rule sets of the VGC 2017 season. So, we kicked off the week yesterday with this team that you can see on your screen right now, which is Tapu Koko, Alolan Raichu, Crocodile, Alolan Marowak, Celesteela, and Gyarados. This was the team that I originally ran at the very start of the format, and I brought it back. I've made a few changes, alterations to the team, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with it this week on the channel, in the interim between bringing a new team to the School of Hard Knocks, which we're going to do next week. So like I keep saying, guys, get your suggestions in, and I will fit those in if I can, but looking forward to getting started with that new team next week. This is just a little interim period, and if there's any other teams that you would like to see featured this week throughout the School of Hard Knocks, let me know. So we have our first opponent from Japan, I think, 1645 rating, running a team of Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, Whimsicott, Crocodile, Celesteela, and Marowak. So this looks a lot like Ryota's World Championship winning team. So this will be a good challenge for us to go up against. Okay, so what are we going to do? The Marowak on the opposing side is a big threat to our Electric Core as well as our Crocodile. But other than that, you know, we have to be careful with the Tailwind from the Whimsicott. Which is going to be a big problem, I feel, because we don't have too much speed control ourselves. But I will lead Koko Raichu here. What else do I want to bring? Do I want to bring Celesteela? I probably want to bring my own Marowak, to be honest. Maybe. We need something for the Crocodile though, that's the only thing. Because the Dazzling Gleam's not really going to cut it. Celesteela doesn't do too bad a job, but we have to be careful for the Taunt, for the Leech Seed shenanigans and things like that. So maybe Gyarados is a better option here with the Marowak. It's just another issue with this team is we don't have too many options of speed control. We don't have too many options of protect on the team as well, so we need to kind of play it like precisely, and sometimes getting into a situation against the more solid teams, it does become a bit more difficult, but we'll see how we get on in today's episode. Like I say, I do have a version of Ryota's team, so we could play that maybe in tomorrow's episode if you guys would like to see that. See how we get on. So we're going to lead off with our Koko and our Raichu. And we'll see my opponent lead off with the Tapu Fini and the Whimsicott. So our electric terrain will disappear, unfortunately, because of the misty terrain from the Tapu Fini, which is slower. Now we do know that this Tapu Fini is choice specs, so we could potentially just double into it, but there's every chance that Marowak can come in and hit the field. Oof, this is really difficult. Like, I could discharge here and bring in my own Marowak, but there's every chance we take a Muddy Water. I will do that. I'll discharge and I'll bring in the Marowak here. There's a good chance we might lose the Marowak, but just getting good damage onto the Tapu Fini, we might pick up some paralyze something along the way. You know, that might be quite handy. So let's see. So there's the Whimsicott withdrawing, and in comes the Marowak. So we are going to get a discharge off. We will get some damage onto this Tapu Fini. How much, I do not know. If we can do about half damage, then that's brilliant. But it's not even that, because it's such a bulky Tapu Fini. But it's a Dazzling Gleam, so that's not bad at all. Now, I wonder how fast this Marowak is on the opposing side of the field. Because we know that the Fini's locked in now to Dazzling Gleam. We could fire off another discharge. Let's see my Marowak. I don't think I've got too much. Let's see, summary 66. I've got a feeling that his Marowak will be faster than ours. So I'll just detect here. I'll detect just to be a bit safer. Hopefully we locked it in time. So we get another discharge off. We're going to get a bit extra damage onto that Tapu Fini. And there's just another Dazzling Gleam. You've got to imagine that the Marowak on my opponent's side of the field probably goes for Shadow Ball into the Marowak, which it does. Okay, so now we get a discharge off here. We take down the Fini, but it's whether my opponent keeps the Fini in or not. But I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball into the opposing Marowak, and you never know, we might outspeed it. I don't know though. Tapu Fini withdraws. We're going to see the Whimsicott come back in. We know it has got that Normalium Z. But I'd imagine, because of the Tailwind, I'd imagine his Marowak being a lot faster than ours. But I've got nothing I really want to switch in on that slot. But we actually outspeed it, which is ideal, and pick up the KO. So that makes things a lot better for us going into this next turn. We do need to be careful of the Whimsicott with that Z nature power that it could potentially have and throw out at us. But now might be a good time to bring in the Gyarados, to be honest. Or the Raichu, even. Gyarados is probably the safer option. We keep Koko and Raichu for later on in the game. We've got rid of the Marowak, so that's the biggest issue at the moment. We could get rid of the Whimsicott, because Whimsicott's the less likely to protect here, whereas the Celesteela may protect. So I'll go for the Whimsicott with the Flare Blitz. So there's the Gyarados in. We may see a Charm though come out, because I think the Whimsicott and Ryota's team has Charm, so that might be an option for him to fire into the Marowak. There's the Protect on the Celesteela. And there's a Tailwind. Okay. So we will take the Whimsicott down here. And our next job is to stall out this Tailwind. So if we can stall it out, and then we've got the Raichu and the Tapu Koko to bring in after the Tailwind's gone, then we should be fine. And also by protecting this next turn, we'll be able to scout out what this Fini locks itself into. You've got to imagine it probably just... will it be Muddy Water though? It'd make a lot of sense if it was. We could technically just go for the Z-Bounce here into the Tapu Fini, and that would get rid of it. And then we don't need to worry too much about the Celesteela. It's not going to be picking up a KO onto the Gyarados. So let's go for the Z-Bounce. We should survive anything that the Tapu Fini throws out at Gyarados anyway, so... And there's just some Muddy Water. But thankfully Z-moves can't miss, so we don't need to worry about that too much. And there's a Leech Seed onto the Gyarados. But that's fine. We've got Marowak, which is a huge fire type attacker, and we've got two electric type attackers in the back, so we should be fine closing up the game from this point, I would imagine. Gyarados. I do like the bounce on the Gyarados. I don't know if I prefer it to the Waterium, but it does give Gyarados like a nice option outside of those water type attacks. We do take the Fini down, take a little bit of Leech Seed residual damage. And the Misty Terrain disappears from the field. So I think the game is pretty much done now. We'll just go for a Dragon Dance, and I could even Perish Song here. Kind of dragging it out. I don't feel like we probably need to. We can just go for the Flare Blitz. That should be doing plenty of damage, if not picking up the KO. Depending on how bulky the Celesteela is. So we'll dance up with Gyarados. And here comes the big Flare Blitz. Is it going to be enough? It is. Easy enough. So, very good game to my opponent, and a nice little way to start the episode. So, it really came down to that speed tie with the Marowaks there, though. We do run a bit of speed in our Marowak, but not very much at all. So, seems like the screen is frozen. Has my opponent disconnected? Yes, they have. In fury of a loss. But we'll move on to our next game and see how we get on. Yeah, like I was saying, I think it came a lot down to the speed tie there. But I mean, even if we lost the speed tie in that situation, at that point we'd forced the Tapu Fini out, so the Whimsicott was out on the field. And I think we would have had Gyarados to bring in at that point. And with the Whimsicott coming in, I know it got the Tailwind off, but we would have been able to potentially get a Dragon Dance up that next turn. And then the next turn on the switch in for Wimmy to come out, maybe. You know, we might have been able to switch Coco out to get it back. Oh, we wouldn't want to switch Coco in to get the Electric Terrain up for the Whimsicott. But I think we would have been alright. Like, we would have been pressuring the Marowak with the Gyarados, and then we would have had the bounce for the Whimsicott. So, you know, it would have been a completely different game, but we might have been alright. We had resources that we could have used in the back either way, so it probably would have been alright. So we'll just look for our next opponent. Hopefully they won't take too long to find. But like I say as well, guys, earlier on, if you want to see something different going into tomorrow's episode, let me know. I know there was a few soundings of some variations of other teams that you'd maybe like to see, so let me know for sure, because I'll change things up tonight and then we can play something tomorrow on the channel. It's taking forever to find an opponent. But in other news, I am looking forward to the stream this week. I will have a lot of teams ready in my battle box. Oh, we can't find an opponent. So let's hop straight back on. Hopefully it won't take too long to find one. Yeah, I think the stream this week is going to be really cool. So if you are around and you can swing by, do so. We're going to have viewer battles this Thursday at 8 PM UK time. So it will be a lot of fun. And I might, like I was saying, I might have the team for next week finished, but I don't know. I'm kind of going to be a bit realistic with myself. I probably won't have it done, but you never know. I might have a bit of spare time this evening and tomorrow evening to get it finished. So if I do, that'll be amazing. But if not, then we can all just wait, and you can chip in with some comments, suggestions on Thursday with what you'd like to see, and we can take it forward next week. Because I feel like the metagame is kind of in a big shift again. You know, you've got a lot of Crocodile kind of popping up, a lot of Marowak popping up. You've got a lot of variations with Tapu Fini as well, kind of coming through, like faster Tapu Finis, more choice specs Tapu Finis, choice scarf Tapu Finis as well. So there's a lot of variations that we can discuss and talk about. But we have our next opponent of the day, and they are running a team of Nihilego, Snorlax, Pheromosa, Aerodactyl, Tapu Bulu, and Arcanine. So we've got that Barncore, the Bulu, the Arcanine, the Nihilego that's going to be difficult to break down. So we need to utilize our terrain well if we are bringing it. Then the Pheromosa, the Aerodactyl, which, you know, Raichu under an electric terrain does deal with very well. And then the Snorlax, which is going to be a big problem. But maybe we bring Marowak here and utilize our Perish Song for the late game. Because Marowak is a nice switch in for Arcanine, it's a nice switch in for Tapu Bulu, it pressures the Bulu, you know, it completely walls Pheromosa. And outside of high horsepower, it's not bad against Snorlax as well. Obviously the Nihilego and the Aerodactyl put a lot of pressure onto us. So, with that said, what are we going to do? I don't know if I want to lead Koko. I might lead Raichu and Gyarados here. Marowak and Koko, maybe. Yeah, let's bring Marowak and Koko. Feature that Koko and the Marowak combination. So I'm kind of more inclined to bring Gyarados here because of the bounce, because there's so much on my opponent's team that can get hit for really super effective damage against it. You know, the Tapu Bulu is going to go down to it, the Pheromosa is going to go down to it. We've got the Waterfall for Nihilego as well. If we can get a Dragon Dance off, especially, it's going to be really, really handy. And with the Raichu support, we probably should be able to do that. So you see my opponent lead off with the Pheromosa and Nihilego. And we can just get a free Dragon Dance up here. The one thing that like crosses my mind right now is, does that Pheromosa have Speed Swap? Because if it does, it throws a few issues up for that Snorlax coming in. The obvious thing here is to fake out into the Nihilego. I feel like that's the more threatening thing here. And just get a dance up. And I think that's what I'm going to do. We might see the Nihilego protect. But we don't. Okay. So, let's see speed tiers here. Is it Scarf? No, it's just... Pheromosa is just U-turning. Ugh, but it takes us down. It takes a poor little Raichu down. But we are going to get a Dragon Dance up. And Pheromosa's special attack rolls. But it does switch out, so... Let's see what comes in. Is it going to be the Arcanine maybe? Yeah, to get an Intimidate off onto the Gyarados. Nihilego does flinch. So, I think here I'll bring in Marowak. Because we should be able to pick up the KO onto the Nihilego with a Waterfall. We can just Shadow Ball into the Arcanine. We're not intimidated, so we should still be doing good damage to it. I think the one thing that we probably need to be a little bit wary of, if we didn't have the Marowak, would be maybe Wild Charge from the Arcanine. There's obviously Will-O-Wisp as well, that the Arcanine could throw out a Will-O-Wisp onto us. Which it still might do, you know. Because that wouldn't be ideal. Kind of makes sense that it probably has Will-O-Wisp, so we could protect here. But then if the Nihilego doesn't protect, then we're in a lot of trouble because it just takes down the Marowak, really. So let's attack into it. Yeah, there's a protect from the Nihilego. Please, let's not see a Will-O-Wisp. So there's a Waterfall into the protect. Fortunately, and just a Flare Blitz. Alright, so that's a lot better. Flare Blitz can burn, but hopefully it doesn't. It's doing a good chunk of damage though. We will get a Shadow Bone off with our Marowak into that slot. Which does proc the berry onto the Arcanine. Which might just put it in range. It's not going to put it in range for another Shadow Bone, but it's going to do enough damage to it. And we can just Waterfall into that Nihilego again. That's maybe something we should look at as well, you know, with the Raichu, like reevaluate the EVs, because in situations like that you kind of want to be able to survive at least a U-turn from a Pheromosa, so something we could potentially look at doing going forward with the team at least, especially with not having the sash. It does make it a little awkward at times. So Nihilego not sticking around, doesn't want to take a waterfall. Tapu Bulu going to hit the field, which is fine. You know, there's every chance we could see a Will-O-Wisp this turn, but we may not as well. Arcanine just protecting, so we will just get a waterfall into the Tapu Bulu, do a bit of chip damage, and a Shadow Ball into the Arcanine. Now you've got to imagine that my opponent knows that I will have the Z bounce, but it's whether or not, I don't know. And you know the Marowak is putting on a lot of pressure here on both targets. So it's whether I want to protect maybe the Gyarados this turn. But if we do, we might see the Arcanine switch out. We'll probably see the Bulu just protect here. It's just whether it's got bulk up maybe, or if it's got substitute. And if it gets it up, if we protect on it, then it's not really putting us in a really good position. So we can go for the Z bounce, Supersonic Sky Strike. Even through the protect, it's going to do good damage. And we've still got Marowak sitting next to it, so we're not going to see any protect come out. So this should pick up the KO onto the Tapu Bulu. Which is great. And then we'll get a Shadow Ball onto that Arcanine, just put it back down in range to pick up the kill. The next turn is going to go for a Flare Blitz into the Marowak slot this time. Okay. Let's see how close we are with this Shadow Ball. Very close. And what we're going to see come in now, maybe, Pheromosa maybe? Could be Sashed, could have the Z move as well. Or is it going to be that Nihilego? My opponent just thinking about their options, what they want to do here. The thing is now Gyarados is going to outspeed everything, so... But we do see the Pheromosa come in. I'm kind of tempted to just double up into... Well, I'm kind of tempted to just protect Gyarados this turn and Flare Blitz into the Pheromosa, if I'm honest. Because the Pheromosa could potentially have... You know, it might have Poison Z or something like that. It could launch it into the Gyarados, we could lose it. I think the Marowak's less likely to get KO'd this turn than the Gyarados, and the Gyarados is the biggest threat on my side of the field, so just protecting it in this situation. And especially if we can get a hit off into the Pheromosa, if it is Sash, then it means the Gyarados will be able to kind of clean it up next turn. I do know that this Pheromosa is more specially built as well. This is an extreme speed into the Gyarados. Pheromosa going for an Ice Beam into the Gyarados again. So we're going to get a free Flare Blitz off into this Pheromosa. We'll see if it's sashed or not. No sash. So we do pick up the KO there. We've just got that Nihilego to deal with now, which we should be alright with, because I think a neutral waterfall, because we got the Dragon Dance up, we got intimidated, so a neutral attack we should be enough to take down the Nihilego, depending on how bulky it is, obviously. But again, it can only target into one of my Pokemon. And we've still got Coco on the back, so we're not in the worst situation in the world. And we have got Hidden Power Ground on Coco. So there's an extreme speed, no protect coming out from my opponent. We get the waterfall off into the Nihilego, pick up the KO, which is ideal, and then Marowak is going to be able to finish the job. And this dynamic duo doing the work against this Banco. And I think the big thing there was, you know, we lost Raichu turn 1, but it was so worth it because that fake out support that allowed us to get that Dragon Dance off. Gyarados coming in with that Dragon Dance is just, you saw, it was just too much for my opponent to deal with. So in situations like that, you know, the sacrifice is worth it. But unfortunately, we lost Raichu. But Gyarados just ploughing through with that bounce and just dealing with big threats like Tapu Bulu that it might not be able to deal with otherwise really easily. So we've had a nice couple of battles today, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode. As always, if you have, please leave a like on the video. It's massively appreciated. If you're new to the channel, do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our daily content that we do throw out from the School of Hard Knocks QR Code series, Battle Spot Doubles series, Best of 3 Battler that we'll have coming up this week with a very special guest. So looking forward to that. And we also do our streams over on Twitch once a week, which are normally on a Thursday at 8 PM. So I'll remind all of you later on as we go through the week about the stream, but looking very much forward to that. But like I've said earlier in this episode, guys, 4 teams for the rest of this week because it is an interim period. If you want to see me play this for the rest of the week, let me know. I'm happy to play it. It is a lot of fun and it's nice to kind of bring it back to play it. But I'm happy to play anything else you would like to see in the interim. You know, we've got 3 days left, so we can play like Ryota's team. We've got the Hard Trick Room team. Anything else as well, just let me know in the comment section below and we'll make it happen for the rest of the week. And then I will see you all for another episode tomorrow. So get the suggestions in. If we don't get anything, we'll just come back and play this team. If you know, you guys might want to see this team, so that would be fair enough. But thank you as always, guys. It's always been a massive pleasure as always, and I'll see you all tomorrow. So I'm not going to drag this on like I normally do and waffle. But you take care of yourselves, guys. Whatever you're doing, morning, day or night, have an amazing time, and I will see you all tomorrow. So until then, guys, bye bye.